Sesi. in the trees, and she did not sound like she was crying. Instead, she was calling, 2 long notes, with an up and down to it, like, hello, hello, except not a word, just noise. A few nights after that, I was lying in bed, and I heard it call again. This time I could swear it was closer, in toward the dooryard. And this time I was certain it had said a name. It called a name with the same 2-note syllable structure. And that name, or what my half-asleep brain had heard, was my name. I'm not going to pretend it said my name clearly. It was warped and far away sounding. But I'm pretty sure it was. I lay there with my heart going, and I did not answer it. Though I do want to say the reptilian part of my brain wanted to answer back. Mo was on the floor by the bed. He had pressed himself flat against the bed frame, and he was trembling. I put my hand down and I felt him shaking. That was the first night the rationalizing got hard, because a bobcat cannot call a person's name. I lay awake until the light came. Then I made coffee and got online. The signal, again, was the problem I keep coming back to. There was no internet at the camp. To look anything up, I had to drive out to the town library, which was open 3 days a week, or sit in the parking lot of the store, using their Wi-Fi from my truck, which is what I did, hunching over my phone in the cab with the engine running for the heat. Sitting in a cold truck in a parking lot in a town at the end of the world, typing your symptoms into a search bar. That's how it goes now, isn't it? We don't go to the wise woman in the village. We go to the parking lot and for a search bar. Anyway, I typed in things like animal that sounds like a person in the woods. I got bobcats and foxes, gray foxes and barred owls, and I listened to recordings of all of them on my phone, holding it up to my ear. None of them were that. The fox was close. The fox scream is genuinely horrible and human. But the fox doesn't make that 2-note shape of a name over and over, getting nearer. So I typed in other things. I typed in thing in the woods, imitating human voice. And that's where it found me. Or where I found it. The whole tangled mass of it. Videos and forum posts, and long anonymous accounts that read more or less exactly like the thing you're reading right now. I'd heard the word skinwalker before, vaguely. I went down that rabbit hole that morning in the truck, and over the next several days at the library. I'll spare you most of what I've read. A lot of it was junk, and some of it I now think was dangerous in ways I didn't understand just yet. But the entire situation simply matched. A creature that could take the form of an animal, but not quite right. One that came around houses at the edge of woods after dark, and could make the sounds of animals and then the sounds of people. And it learned voices, learned to use them. It could call your name to draw you out past your door and into the trees. For whatever reason, it could not or would not come straight to you. It seemed to have to make you come to it, make you leave your shelter. And there was a rule that was repeated in every story about it that I heard. Never, ever answer. You should never even say its name either. There were more symptoms, I should say. Eyes that reflected the light at just the wrong height off the ground. A smell. I read all of it crouched over my phone, and a cold certainly settled into me, but at least I had a name for it. I drove back to the camp at the end of one of those library days, saying the word out loud in the cab, telling myself that's what it was, that there was a skinwalker in the woods behind the camp. I told Errol my theory 3 days later. We were at the gas station on those stools again, and I'd been working up to it. Finally, I just said that I wanted to ask him something that was going to sound insane. And I told him, about the dog and the cries, and the voice that had definitely called my name. Then I said the word of the creature, that I thought it might be a skinwalker. Errol had been drinking his coffee, nodding as he listened.